Hey everybody, Chris here. Welcome back to another episode of Woodmere State Revival. We're down at the house this weekend tackling a much needed project. As you can see, I've got my new Vim beard going here, so it's getting colder. And with cold temperatures, we start to worry about the attic and everything else that's up there in the upper floors. All the walls have new insulation in them, but we got to get that attic insulated. So that's what we're up to. We've got 35 bales of fiberglass blow-in insulation out in the garage, and then we've got a insulation blower sitting in the house ready to rock. We got 100 feet of hose, so we're going to be able to get that baby set up, start feeding in those bales and start blowing in insulation. We're going to put in 10 inches of insulation upstairs, and that's going to give us about an R30 in the attic, which should be plenty for West Virginia winters. So we're going to get started on that. Let me show you exactly what we're working with here. All right, so here's our Owens Corning Atticat insulation system, and this thing's pretty sweet. I've used a cellulose blower before, and it was basically just a big open hopper that you drop those bales of cellulose insulation into. But this thing is a little bit more sophisticated, and it's supposed to be better as far as the mess goes, so we'll see. But pretty simple machine. It's got a little control panel on the side here, start and stop. That's pretty easy. And then this is where you feed in the bales. The bales are perforated, and you basically just take your little utility knife and slit them around the middle, break them in half, and feed half a bale in at a time. It's got this little hook inside here that has a blade in it. You can see that. And that slits the side of the packaging as it's going in. The hook holds on to the plastic waste, and then everything else drops down in there. And those little paddles are actually made out of rubber. Looks like a recycled tire carcass or a belt or a conveyor belt, something like that. But it's nice to know that if you were to accidentally make contact with one of those, it might bruise you, but it's not going to chop your arm up into little mincemeat, so that's encouraging. But really no reason for you to have your arm down in there anyways, because again, you're feeding the bale in from the side here, and there's plenty of room between you and the spinning little choppers there. So pretty sweet little system. Looking forward to testing it out. And we got 100 foot of pink hose over here. Of course it's pink, it's Owens Corning. We're going to be using that to again, reach the far corners of the attic and dump in 10 inches of fiberglass insulation everywhere. So let's take a run upstairs, pop up into the attic there, and we'll take a look and see what we got to work with. Alrighty, there we go. Good old attic stairs. One piece of the house we were actually able to save. All right, so nice to be able to go up in the attic and not worry about a raccoon jumping on your head. The old attic was dark like this and full of raccoons. Let there be light. Our contractor was so nice to put boxes all across the attic here, and so we've actually got a light all the way across. So as you can see, we got some pretty formidable duct work to work around. So that's going to be a little bit of a pain. So we'll have to kind of get positioned, in behind the duct work. And I'll be shimmying across the tops of the rafters here. This attic is broken up here on the end. That's you can see some pink insulation on the wall there. That's where the attic used to stop. Now it goes on across into the new addition, but we've got that walled off because that's where our mechanical room is on the other side of the wall there. That's where all our pipes and everything come in, and our cable and internet and all that stuff comes in up there. So we'll show you that here in just a minute. But as you can see, pretty standard stuff here. We've just got ceiling joists all the way across here, and they're 10 inch. This place was heavily framed, so we're going to be able to get nice deep layer of insulation in all the way across here, and we will have plenty of warmth. Let me kind of shinny across here, hopefully without cracking my head on one of the rafters, and take a look across the way here so you can see what we got to work with. So you can see again some ductwork running across there. We've got a chimney, but other than that, it's pretty much just open attic space. So once you get past this HVAC unit, it'll be fairly easy to shoot all the sides and on out to the corners of the roof there. Thankfully, when we had the ceilings out, we were able to go ahead and install those baffles. See if you can see them. and it's kind of hard to see. It's dark up here in the attic, but anyways, we got the baffles. Yeah, you can kind of see the edges of them there in place, so we can go ahead and fill insulation all the way up against the edges there, and then that way we don't worry about covering up the vent space for make sure we get adequate airflow up in here, because we've got soffit vents and then we've got a ridge vent. That's how this attic will be vented. So we got to have those little what the heck are those things called? Man, I'm doing great. Those little baffles to make sure that you don't have any insulation actually covering up your soffit vent. There we go. I spit it out eventually. So that's what we're working with up here. So I'm going to do a little bit of cleanup here, suck a few cobwebs up and that sort of thing, and then we'll be ready to crawl around on our hands and knees on top of the ceiling joists and get it insulated up. Should be a good time. Okay, so that's the attic in the main house, and now we'll go across the way and check out the attic above the bonus room. It should be fun as well. It's nice and clean and new, but it is rather low clearance up there in the ridges, because we've got that big vaulted ceiling there, which is real nice, but then don't have as much room to crawl around and work up there. So let me show you what that looks like. All right, so I'm standing in the bonus room now, and again, you can see these nice big vaulted ceilings, which are great for giving that open, airy feel, but at the same time, it does rather limit your attic space and limit your access. Let's take a climb up the ladder here. And here you can see all of our plumbing. We got our 2 Rinnai hot water heaters, and there's our manifold for all of our hot and cold plumbing. And you can see some of the duct work that's coming in here. Let me climb up in here and we'll take a look. Oh, yeah, good stuff, good stuff. So here, we'll have to lift the ductwork up, so we can get the insulation and all the little cracks and crevices. And we'll be able to shoot it over across this way. And there's the baffles. You can kind of get a better shot at the baffle there. And again, that's just to provide a pathway for airflow from the soffit vent up into the attic space. That way you can get good circulation. All right, so over here, a lot more ducts. So again, somebody's gonna have to come up here and help me kind of lift those things up out of the way, so we can go ahead and blow in insulation under those. And then we've got the baffles running up to the ridge here, because we'll actually put in bats of insulation in this part of the space. And then looking up here, it's super dark, so we're gonna have to put a light up here apparently. There is no light in that space, but I'm gonna have to climb out on top of those ceiling joists, and then I'll bring some piece of sheeting or something up here, that way I can kind of scurry out on there and then get out to the very end and kind of go under the ductwork and blow insulation in under there, and then kind of work my way out of it. There you go. Turn the light on so you can actually see what's going on out there. So we've got, that's the end wall that you can see way out there. That's the end wall of the garage addition. And then you can see these big trunk lines going out there to the HVAC ducts. And then so I'll just have to crawl across these ceiling joists and get out to the end there, and then again start working my way back out of here. So we're going to start with this, actually. Start with the hardest part first, and then work our way back into the main part of the attic. Alright, so I'm in the attic above the bonus room, and it's a rather low ceiling up here. So I'm kind of folded up into the fetal position. It's awesome. Just crawled over here on my hands and knees. There's no crawl boards, walk boards, whatever you want to call them. So nothing like taking some ceiling joists in the kneecap. So that was a lot of fun. But let me show you where we're starting out here, where there is some insulation in place in the eaves. And then again, they've got those diaphragms in there to allow air to flow from the soffit vents up to the ridge vent. So let me show you what we got going on, and then I'm going to get started with blowing some insulation in here. All right, so there you can see the baffles or the diaphragms there that allow the air to flow from the soffit vent up here into the attic, and then they've got some regular bats of insulation stuffed in there, and that goes down into the cavities that we couldn't blow insulation into. So looking back here, you can see where I came from. There's daylight down at the end there. That's the what we call the utility space, where we've got the water heaters and the manifolds for the PEX. And then you can see my little insulation hose stretched out across here. So I'm going to start blowing insulation back here in these corners and then just kind of work my way out. So see if we can get this knocked out here pretty quickly. I'm going to get my respirator on and we'll get cracking.
All right, so far so good. I've got about 3/4 of it done here. So you can see all the nice pink fluffy stuff. It's doing a nice job filling in all the cavities in and around the ductwork, and we're going to get a good 10 inches of insulation, 10 to 12 really. So that should give us plenty, at least an R30 up here in this attic. So that should give us plenty of insulation. All right, so we're going to get the machine refilled and then back in action.
All right, so as you can see, we got the entire attic space above the bonus room full of this nice pink fluffy stuff. I got at least 10 to 12 inches across the whole space, so that'll be a good R30 or R35, something like that. So we got plenty of insulation up here now. Should be nice and toasty in the wintertime, and shouldn't get too hot in the summertime, so that should really help. Next up, we've got to go under the eaves here next to the bonus room. This area right here is above the ensuite bathroom for Reed's bathroom. It's above Reed's ensuite bathroom. There we go. So we got to blow insulation in under the ductwork and all the way across this space. And then on the other side, it's going to be a little bit more of a chore. So we got some big ducts in here. So I'm probably going to have to take a board or something and kind of lift those up out of the way so I can get insulation down into all the cavities here. So that's going to be a little bit more of a chore. So I'm going to get suited back up, and Dad's down there manning the insulation machine. So we'll go ahead and get that thing fired back up and get some more of this covered up with that nice fluffy pink stuff that's working its way into every orifice. Good stuff. All right, so we're now in the attic above the main house, and as you can see, there's no insulation here, and that's because it all got ripped down when they replaced all the sheetrock. Originally, we were going to try to keep the ceilings, but once we got up here and saw how much raccoon poop and pee there was on top of everything, we said, nope, it's got to go. And so a couple of the laborers that were here working on the house got up in here and just kicked it all down, and so we had huge piles of nasty insulation and old nasty drywall and everything in the upstairs. You guys saw that in one of the previous videos, but now it's all pretty clean up here. We've got fresh sheetrock, all new insulation, all new plumbing, all new ductwork. I just came through with the shop vac and sucked up as many stray cobwebs as I could, really just to kind of clean this place up and get it looking as good as we could before putting in the insulation. All right, so I'm gonna get my respirator on and my goggles and get ready to blow some insulation. Dad is downstairs manning the machine, and he's ready to feed some bales in. So we can go ahead and get this main attic taken care. Excuse me, dusty up here. Get this main attic taken care of this evening as well. So it's been going pretty well so far. We're gonna keep cranking.
Right now I'm filling up the cavity in behind the master bed, and it's now some bookshelves that are kind of built in there. This is the cavity where the dead raccoon was found. Very satisfying to get this filled up with insulation, get all this cleaned up. This section of wall right here was all rotted, and this is the area right here where the raccoon had kind of chewed around the siding that had rotted and the sheeting, and that's how he'd gotten into the attic up here after climbing up the vines on the side of the house, and worked his way down into the wall. Had him a nice nest down in there, and lived a nice long life after eating all the trash out of the kitchen, and then eventually croaked in the wall. Good times. Making good progress. Got a little bit more than half of the upstairs done. Nice pink carpet of snow. Beautiful. It's warm. House feels toastier already.
Well, the last bag just went through the insulation blower. Couldn't be happier to have this job done. I'm really happy with how quick it went, actually. I was surprised. Amber and I both figured we'd be working 2 days to get all this done, but in actuality, we got the whole thing knocked out in a day. So thanks to Amber and my dad for feeding the machine. I was able to just stay up here and just keep on rolling. And it definitely went faster than I thought it was going to. So we've got at least 10 inches everywhere, more like 12 in most places, and somewhere 14 and a little deeper, because with all the ductwork and everything, I went ahead and covered some of those, and there was some pipes up here for condensation drain. Went ahead and covered all that stuff. Can't be too careful with that, but man, it really looks great. It's going to keep this house toasty warm in the winter, and definitely help keep the heat in the attic during the summer months. So it's looking really, really good. All right, well, there you have it, folks. Couldn't be happier with getting this job done today.
I know. I know this is the first project in the history of Woodmere Estate Revival that's ever come in under what we budgeted for time.
That's true, and I think under budget on money as well. We didn't use all of our insulation bales,
Yes.
so we could take a few of those back.
Yes. So I think the whole project cost about $700.
Okay, well worth it.
Yes.
And when you think about the heating and cooling costs of a house like this, it's great to get that insulation in there, that we don't worry about losing all our money out the attic, and not to
Totally.
mention protecting the pipes and everything else that are in and around the attic.
This house doesn't need any more water leaks.
Yeah, that's true. Sad
By
problem.
us, because we've had a few, or the previous owners.
Right. All right, so that wraps up this episode, folks. Thanks for hanging out with us. Be sure to hit that subscription button so you don't miss a single episode of Woodmere State Revival. We'll be back again with another one soon. Give us a like if you would, please. You got any comments or questions, please leave those in the space down below. Always happy to hear from you guys. And as always, be sure to tell your friends, family, neighbors, coworkers, strangers on the street, random people at the airport, whatever.
We're not that popular.
I know we're not. We're trying to get popular. That's why we want people to tell
Okay.
everyone they see about Woodmere State Revival. We've got lots more videos to come, so keep tuning back in. We'll see you guys real soon. Thanks. Bye.